Hello. So what I'd like to do today is to go ahead and cover my preferred method for label stripping on N64 games. So what's going on here is I've got a game that I picked up dirt cheap, less than $4, and the case is in very good condition, but the game is effectively DOA. So in order to, turn this into something productive, what I am going to do, since the case is in good condition, is turn this into a reproduction case. I have a retro stage blaster. If you see my channel, I've got a video on that. If you have any questions about that, you can watch that video, and it tells all about the retro stage blaster. And so what I'm going to do is turn this into my own reproduction. I'll just go ahead and make my own reproduction and put my own label on it. So the case is in excellent condition. The back's in great shape. I just need to strip the label off of this thing in order to make it into what I want it to. So a lot of people, will put out there, the goo gone and the goof or goof off, if you prefer. And I use that same method, but I do a little bit of a tweak on mine. A lot of people just say, oh, just use a little. I've found personally that I know you end up using more of it, but I actually prefer to saturate the label with goof off, because what ends up happening is if you let it pool on there, it really soaks in there and it makes it much easier to get off with a scraper. If you don't, then you end up doing a lot more work scraping, and it's so much harder. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just show you, how I put it on here. Yeah, it does use more of the goof off, and I prefer goof off to goo gone because it's a little more potent. Unfortunately, because it's so strong in the fumes and everything else, I actually do wear a mask when I do this, just because I have kind of a sensitive, sinus system. So anyways, over the next little bit, if you hear my voice and it sounds maybe a little bit muffled, that's what's going on, is I've got a mask on while I'm doing this. So if you give me just a second here, I'll go ahead and get this stuff on here. Okay, so yes, I do apply a very liberal coating of this stuff. And then what I end up doing is just taking a Q-tip here and making sure it's evenly saturated all over. And just letting it soak. Now, you can see there it's already pulling some of the ink off. So what I end up doing here is just letting it sit for probably about 30 minutes, just to let all of that soak in really good. Because effectively what you're doing here is you're letting the goo gone do the work for you, and just really just soaking in and getting under that label, so it's going to be easier to get up. Because when Nintendo and the various companies, or in this case EA Sports, put these labels on here, they were not designed to come off at all. They were definitely put on there with a strong adhesive, and so yeah, it's a pain to get these things off unless you kind of have a good technique. So I'm going to go ahead and let it sit for probably about a half hour or so, and then I'll come back and just kind of show you the little plastic scraper that I have, and going ahead and working on it. Okay. So now we can see that this thing has really had a chance to soak in, and I'm going to give it a shot here now and see how it's done. Sometimes it can be stubborn, sometimes if you look right there, it comes off pretty easy. Sometimes what I do is just sit here and take it like this and just kind of work on it like that, and just see if I can't quite get it off all in one go.
even though I'm really scrubbing at it right now, honestly, this is about as easy as it gets. It is as I said, they did a really good job making sure that these labels were on there and they're solid. So you are going to have to spend a little bit of effort and work here, just trying to scrape these off. As I said, I like to try and go back and maybe pick up some of the residual Goo Gone and just try and really get it in there to break this stuff up so it comes off as clean as possible. And that basically takes care of the main part of it. You can see now just a little bit of residual stuff, so we'll just work on getting that off of there. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time doing some fine-tuning cleanup work, and then I'll show you the final step that I do here. Okay, so if you take a look there, that's pretty clean. One thing I did forget to mention, you do want to take like an old rag once you're done with the main scraping, getting the main stuff off. It takes off the residual Goo Gone, and will go ahead and just make it so that it just has a nice clean surface. Now the last thing that you want to do is to go ahead and use some isopropyl alcohol and just do that kind of final wipe down, and then that does the kind of final cleaning so it's prepped for a new label. So I just take a little Q-tip here, or you can take a larger size cotton pad, either or, and this will also help just sort of clean off that last little bit of residual there. I also like to try and get it down here in this little groove. Just try and make sure that last little bit of Goo Gone is gone from there. And this just makes it so that you have a really nice, clean, polished surface. And that's pretty much about it. And that gives you basically a clean surface on there for you to be able to, once it dries, to go ahead and put on a brand new label and put in a new flash board, and you got yourself a nice reproduction case there. And that's all I've got. Thanks for watching.